Hey, hello, Education 380, Education 500. I hope you're having a great week. Survived the snow, surviving the cold. I'm recording this on Friday, the 21st of January, and it is definitely freezing out there. A few things before we get going. One, I hope everyone survived the website. It seemed like everyone was, I didn't get a whole lot of requests for assistance. It seemed like everyone was able to get through or picked one that they liked. Those of you who contacted, I think we got the problem solved. There was a pop-up window on some of them and a little bit of publishing on, I think, for a few of you, but you were awesome. You emailed. I think we got it fixed. A few people even took over pointing at the computer lab right across the hall from me, right across the wall, not the hall. But we got it fixed. That's probably one of the more trickier things to actually do for this class, I think, or at least more tedious. But I like them, so it sounded like most people got through them pretty good. So I'm sure I'll read your blogs, and if you don't like them, I'm sure I'll hear about it, but that's why we do the blogs. So with all that being said, I'm going to go ahead and jump right in. This week, we got a few things. We're going to talk about Google Classroom. We're going to talk about HyperDocs, talk about Quizlet just briefly, just kind of let you know it's out there, and maybe some new things related to apps, more specifically for your discussion board. Assignments this week are going to be blog 3. You're going to create a Google Classroom, and you're going to do a discussion on apps. So with no further ado, let me go ahead and do this. Very first thing you have to do, look at that. I was already on Google because I wanted to pull up an example for you all. I mentioned last week you want to make sure that you have a Google sign-in or a Google account. You do need one of those for this assignment. Once you have your Google account, you should have a little letter, unless you have a picture or something up there with your name. Mine is jasonow1066@gmail.com. But once you create that account, you should be able to click this waffle board. There's a whole lot here. Anything you make on here usually goes into Google Drive as far as docs and presentations and such. There should be something here called Classroom. You're just going to click that. I'm going to give you a little bit of things that I wanted to mention about Classroom. One, it's very much like, I'm going to delete this one to give myself a little more space. It's not going to let me do it. Let's see if I can unenroll. All right. I want to make sure I had space on there. Sorry. A couple things about Google Classroom. One, these are some prior ones from other semesters. It's very much like a learning management system. It's like a home base. I really wanted everyone to do one of these, though, because a lot of counties and a lot of districts still use Google Classroom as their learning management system. So we're not going to build anything whopper sized in here, but I do think that you need to at least do a little bit in it. So it's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. What I want you to do, create your Google Classroom. Once you create your Google account, go to that classroom off of the waffle board. And what I want you to do is hit this plus. You're going to create a class. You're going to agree. Oh, by the way, I should make this point. School districts usually have something called G Suite. If you are in a school district and you're using G Suite, I can't access those if they're county driven. So you do have to create one through your personal account. They don't have as many bells and whistles usually, but for this assignment, we have to do it that way. I can't get into the G Suite, sorry. Otherwise, you're fine. But anyway, the class, we're going to do European history. I'm going to stick to my social studies roots. This is section 1 and one of my old classrooms, 207. Yeah, you know what? I like 204 better. It was a better room. So I will go with loyalty and 204. I'm going to create my European history classroom. And here's some of the things that you have to do in this. There it is. You're going to get this. Now you can customize this. You can load a photo up. You can do a theme. I don't care if you do that or not. That's not why I'm here. You will get a class code. This is something you can share with me on Brightspace. And by the way, I never mentioned this on Brightspace. Most of you, I think, have figured it out or already know this, but it isn't like Sakai where you can just submit something in a box. You usually have to submit it on a Word document and then put it on there. So if you want to submit your class code, I would have to put this on a Word document, just giving you the heads up on that. But the class code is C1, CIIP6CP. Again, the class code is CIIP6CP. You don't have to worry about it, but that's where you'll find it. First thing you have to do for the assignment, you have to do an announcement. Welcome to class. Yay. You can attach something. That's your Google Drive. That's a file. That's a link. that's a video. We're going to get into that in a minute, and you can post it. So now I have an announcement. That's the first thing you have to do. Second thing you have to do, I want you to put a YouTube video in there. Now you can do it. I don't care if you do it on the announcement. I would recommend doing it here though. And if you go here, you hit classwork, you hit create. I would say assignment. Click the little YouTuber there. And let's do a video on feudalism. Pick one. I'm not going to be too picky. The videos are fine as long as they relate to the topic. By the way, when you pick your class, it can be your subject area. It can be, if you're in elementary, your class, or a specific content area. That's fine. As long as the video is appropriate and relates to it, that's all I care. Have that there. And I'll put feudalism. Watch video on feudalism is the assignment. That's the second thing I have to do. Boom. Third thing I have to do, and the final thing I have to do for my assignment is this. There's something called hyperdocs. Some of you may know what a hyperdoc is. If you don't know what a hyperdoc is, you probably really do know what a hyperdoc is. It's a document basically where multiple people can work on it. That's probably a little bit of a simplistic definition, but I think it kind of gets to the point. Google has a few of these. The two that you'll probably use the most ever in the classroom will be slides, which is their PowerPoint, and their docs. And what I mean by that, multiple people can work on it. For example, my son is currently doing a presentation on Nelson Mandela in class. There's 3 in the group. They all have access to the slides, so they can all work on their part at the same time. And it blends it together. They have access to it. A doc, and you can, when you post these things, your students do. That's why most of the time the students have to make a copy of something instead of, I'm sure you've already run into that if you're working Google Docs, where someone might post a document up and people type on it and it changes it. That's a hyperdoc. What I want you to do is either take one of these two or any of the others. There's a few down there, but I would say just take this, and you might have a Google, let's just say this. I'm going to pick this one. There's a couple ways you can do it, but assign up for presentation. All right, and I'm going to call that boom. All right, so it auto saves. I'm pointing at it like you can see it, but up here with my finger, but it auto saves. It does it. Whatever you do in Google, it remembers. So once you have that all in there, let's go ahead, and it's going to let me click. No, it's not going to let me click. I'm going to shrink my screen real quick so I can close that out. Boom. Okay, now I'm back. Now I can do this a couple different ways. I can do this on the stream, or I can do it in classwork. Why don't I do it on the stream this time? The third thing I want you to do is go to your drive after you create the Google Doc. Should be there first thing, hopefully on recent. Boom. I'm going to click that. I'm going to insert it. And I'm going to say, please sign. Oops. My fingers are cold from being outside. It's at my window. Anyway, it's like 15 degrees outside. Sign up for presentation. You're like, I don't care about this. Tell me what I need to know. There's that. And boom. That's what you need to do for me. I will say this, there's a lot more you can do with Google Classroom. And I would recommend, if you want to build a kick butt Google Classroom, go for it. There's a lot of add-ons. Something that a lot of you may use, and it's on the list, you don't have to do this, is Quizlet. My son and I use Quizlet for a lot of his reviewing. You can actually embed these into Google Classroom. Nearpods, I think now, Pear Deck, we're going to talk about, can be built into Google Classroom. But in case you're not familiar with Quizlet, it's a review system. It's like flashcards and stuff like that. There's actually something called Google or Quizlet Live we're going to talk about briefly in one of the other sections. But when you go there, you can look up things and you can embed these cards in there. Okay, let's create the class. Actually, I'm not going to get into all that right now. I just wanted to show it to you. I don't want to sit here and mess up technology, but you can look up stuff. There's some that are already built. You can build your own, i.e. create. I'm pointing again like you can see me right there on the mouse. For example, just because he's my kid and I see the work that he's doing, my son's actually reading The Hobbit right now for school, and there's different things on there. Maybe we'll do the Hobbit vocab, maybe a little better. And as you can see, there's vocabulary for chapter 1. And I could actually link that up to Google Classroom. There's other things you can do on there, but I just always say, you know, if you want to give something to students, this might be something that you can do. I used to have students when I was teaching social studies, they would get together and they would make Quizlets and share with each other, which you can. As you look down here, there's a bunch of buttons like share, print, and such. So just wanted to let you know that it's out there. We're not going to do any tech with it. Your big thing is this. You got to do a Google Classroom. It's very similar to a website. I get it. You can do an announcement, you're going to embed a YouTube video, and you're going to put a hyperdoc on there. And a hyperdoc, again, is something that multiple students can work on just to kind of hype up the hyperdocs. I used to do them, like I say, for presentations where multiple students could work on sections and they would all work on different slides. I know a lot of language arts teachers like to use them for peer editing because they can all work on a document and edit it together. So there's a lot of benefits to it, especially Google. That's a Google Docs type thing. So again, this is Google Classroom. Let me get out of this. Let's go back to the class for this week. If this video stinks and you need one, there are Google Classroom videos right there. Boom. If you need any type of hyperdoc information, there's a few on there. I don't know if I posted Quizlet, but I'll put the link up. I'll make sure to do that before I post this officially. There's the Google Classroom assignment. Again, it is not due until the 30th, so you're good to go. You can review Google Classroom in 2 to 3 sentences. You can even say, I like this better than the website. It's just easier to use. I could see myself using it more in the future, things like that. I think Washington County still, I'm actually going back to Washington County for the first time since the pandemic this semester. I thought they were still using Google Classroom a lot. Jefferson County used to, but I think they've actually went to the Canvas, I believe. So, but again, I think it's something to use. Heck, a lot of times teachers just use it for base level stuff, like when they need to get something done or create something for them. My son's school still uses it actually. So anyway, the last thing you need to do is a discussion on the readings. That is on apps. Tech Like a Pirate. It's actually chapters. Make sure I don't forget. I'll look on the syllabus here in a minute, but it is related to the, I think it's chapter 3. It's basically the concept. I always believe good teachers steal. A lot of people say good teachers borrow, but when I took something or an idea, I never usually gave it back. So I hate to say it. I think it's a steal. But anyway, a lot of times teachers like to use apps. Apps are becoming very popular, loading up on iPads and stuff like that. I'm saying they're becoming popular. Apps are popular. A lot of times they'll take things, and even if they don't use the app, they mold it, make it their own. And the chapter talks about that a little bit. One thing I used to do, Twitter and Facebook, I don't know. I have them. I don't know how many people use them all the time or not, or Instagram. There are a lot of templates out there if you don't want to use the tech itself that kind of, you can kind of mimic those things and kind of have fun assignments. For example, I should have brought one of mine, but I'm on my work computer. So I'm going to use this example. Farcebook is one I used to do. You could actually pay for Farcebook and get a tech-oriented thing. I did that 1 year. It wasn't worth it. There are Word documents all over the place on the Google machine that you can type in Farcebook template, and students can actually work on it on Word. But you see, it's just a fun assignment where you can get into things and you talk about maybe the biography of Alexander Hamilton. This is exactly what they look like. Interested in making millions. Church background, quotes. It kind of gets them to dive into. They got to make connections with other famous people. By the way, you don't have to do this just in a social studies class. You can do this math class, language arts class, anything if you're doing a little bit of research. It's just a fun way to do some research. That's what the chapter's getting into a little bit. It's kind of talking about maybe if you don't want to use an app specifically or that technology, maybe you can kind of mold it into your own. Actually, there are some good resources here that they have associated with the textbook. If you go here, there's social media templates, game templates. You are welcome to check any of these out. There's some Snapchats and everything, Instagram template. Let's check that one out. Who doesn't love the gram? As you can see, you might have to do it as a Google Slides or a PowerPoint template, but let's just do a Google copy. It's probably gonna make me log in. I forgot I did this last week. Oh, no, it didn't. I couldn't remember. And there you go. There's a template that you might have students work with. That's a site. You have access to that site, by the way. You're welcome to check it out. Now, what am I going to ask you to do here for the discussion? Let's go back. slowly go back. There we go. It's Friday, and even the computer system's a little tired, I guess. You got to do two things. Well, I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. You have your choice of two things. You can explain what app you would use to adapt in your classroom. If there's an app that you're familiar with that's not even on this, and maybe how you would use it. If it's the specific app, you're welcome to just say, I like this app. I would use it. I love it. I wouldn't even adapt it. I would just have my students load it up on our school iPad and go for it because of this. Or if you want, from those templates that are on there, if you want to download one of those templates and just create a fake assignment, just practice it yourself and just kind of review it, you can just do that and post it. That's fine too. If you'd rather do that than just do another just basic discussion, I don't care which one. Also, I do post on the discussion. There's some things here with some different apps that you can do. There's tons of different education apps. Why is that not clicking up on there? Oh, there it goes. And you can see there's different ones you can check out if you want. Amazon might not be the most education oriented, but there's other ones on there. Educ, you don't have to read the articles unless you want to, but these are just ones that have different ones, Class Kick or something. We're going to actually do Nearpod. So if you want to avoid that one, I would say, I don't have anything specific on Seesaw. So if you want to talk about the Seesaw app, I know that's a very popular one. So long story short, basically for the discussion, you have two choices. You can either take an app, say if you would use it, or how you would adapt it. I don't care which, or you can just take one of those templates right there and you can actually just go ahead and do this, just complete one of the templates and post it up. Just thought that'd be a little bit of a break. I think that's the week. The only other thing that I can think of, I didn't say it at the beginning. If you've made it this far, I did want to apologize. Sometimes I still have some bright space growing pains, and it was awesome. Someone in Ed 500 actually contacted me, and the discussion board was not, I have to do a little eyeball and click it. And I thought I had clicked it for everyone. If for some reason you can't get into a discussion board, just email me. It's probably because I didn't click the eyeball that's beside your name so you can see it. I should have done that. And I try to make sure I go through and do it each time. But once in a blue moon, I do forget. And it happens. But if it throws you off for the week, I will give you a little more time to finish up. It's my mistake. It's my mistake. There's no way around that. So that being said, I think I talked longer and I probably said I would always commit to. So I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing. Email with any questions. Hope everyone's surviving the semester, survived the snow. Enjoy the weekend. Well, it'll be Monday when you watch it. Enjoy the weekend that's coming up. Hope you enjoyed the weekend you just had. Catch you later.